Imagine if every decision you made, every smile you shared, and every tear you cried was secretly controlled by tiny voices living inside your mind. What if happiness, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust were not just emotions, but real characters guiding every moment of your life? This is the fascinating world of Inside Out, a story that takes us deep inside the mind of an 11-year-old girl named Riley and shows us how powerful emotions can shape who we are. Released in 2015, this animated adventure was directed by Pete Docter and Ronnie Del Carmen, with a story brought to life by Pixar. Featuring the voices of Amy Poehler, Phyllis Smith, Bill Hader, Lewis Black, and Mindy Kaling, the film takes us on an unforgettable emotional journey. Before we begin, follow the channel for more amazing movie stories, and don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. The story begins on the day Riley is born. The first emotion to appear inside her mind is joy, a bright and energetic character who immediately takes control. Riley's first memory is a happy one, glowing like a golden sphere inside the control center of her mind. Soon, joy is joined by sadness, then fear, disgust, and anger. Together, these five emotions become Riley's emotional team. Each one has an important job. Fear protects Riley from danger. Disgust keeps her away from things she finds unpleasant. Anger reacts whenever something feels unfair. Sadness expresses Riley's painful feelings. And joy tries to keep Riley happy as much as possible. As Riley grows up, her mind becomes more complicated. Her happy memories create several powerful core memories, and these memories form the foundation of her personality. One memory creates Family Island, another builds Friendship Island, while Hockey Island represents Riley's love for the sport. There are also islands connected to honesty, silliness, and other important parts of her life. Joy is extremely proud of this system because Riley has always been a cheerful child, and Joy believes that keeping Riley happy is the most important mission of all. Riley's life suddenly changes when her family moves away from Minnesota to San Francisco because of her father's new job. She has to leave behind her friends, her old home, and the hockey team she loves. When the family finally arrives at their new house, everything feels wrong. The house is small and uncomfortable, the moving truck is late, and Riley's parents are busy dealing with their own problems. Riley tries to remain positive, and Joy works hard inside her mind to make sure she stays cheerful. However, sadness begins acting strangely and starts touching Riley's happy memories, turning them blue. Joy becomes worried because she does not understand why sadness is changing Riley's memories. During Riley's first day at her new school, she is asked to introduce herself to the class. Joy tries to help Riley talk about her happy life in Minnesota, but sadness accidentally touches one of Riley's happiest memories. Suddenly, Riley starts crying in front of everyone. A new core memory is created, but instead of being golden and happy, it is blue with sadness. Joy immediately realizes that something dangerous is happening. Determined to protect Riley's personality, Joy tries to remove the sad memory from the control center, but sadness gets involved and the two struggle over the memory. During the chaos, they accidentally pull several other core memories out of their place. A powerful force then pulls both joy and sadness away from headquarters and sends them into the vast world of Riley's long-term memory. Fear, anger, and disgust are left behind at the controls, while joy and sadness are trapped far away with no easy way back. Without joy and sadness, Riley's mind quickly begins to fall apart. Fear, anger, and disgust try their best to control her, but none of them know how to handle the situation properly. Meanwhile, Joy is desperate to return to headquarters because she believes Riley cannot survive without happiness. She sees sadness as a problem and wants to keep her away from the core memories. But sadness quietly follows along as they begin a dangerous journey through the strange and unpredictable world inside Riley's mind. As joy and sadness search for a way home, Riley starts feeling increasingly disconnected from everything she once loved. Her emotions are becoming unstable, and the personality islands that once made her who she is are beginning to weaken. Joy still believes that if she can simply return to headquarters, everything will become normal again, but she has no idea that the journey ahead will force her to discover something she has never understood before. Sometimes happiness is not the only emotion we need, and sometimes sadness can be just as important. Joy and sadness now find themselves deep inside Riley's long-term memory, surrounded by endless shelves filled with glowing memory spheres. Every moment Riley has ever experienced is stored somewhere in this enormous maze. Joy knows that they must return the core memories to headquarters before Riley's personality completely collapses. Without those memories in place, the islands representing Riley's family, friendship, honesty, hockey, and silliness are in serious danger. But finding the way back is not going to be easy, especially because joy and sadness have no idea where they are. As they begin moving through the maze, Joy notices something even more frightening. The memory workers are constantly removing old memories and sending them into a dark place called the memory dump. Riley is slowly forgetting things from her childhood, including names, faces, and experiences that once seemed important. Joy watches in shock as old memories disappear forever. She understands that Riley's mind is changing as she grows older, but this is not what worries her most. What truly scares Joy is the possibility that Riley may lose the core memories before they can return them to headquarters. While searching for a way home, Joy and Sadness suddenly encounter Bing Bong, Riley's forgotten imaginary friend. Bing Bong is a strange combination of different animals, with a childlike personality and a heart full of memories from Riley's early childhood. He is overjoyed to see Joy because he remembers the days when he and Riley used to go on incredible imaginary adventures together. However, he is also hurt because Riley has slowly stopped thinking about him. Joy quickly realized that Bing Bong knows the inner world much better than they do, and she asks him to help them find a way back to headquarters. Bing Bong tells them that the fastest route is through the train of thought. This special train travels across Riley's mind and passes through important areas before eventually reaching headquarters. Joy becomes excited because the train could solve all their problems. But there is one major difficulty. The train only runs when Riley is awake and thinking clearly. As Riley struggles to adjust to her new life, her thoughts become confused, making their journey even more dangerous. Back at headquarters, fear, anger, and disgust are trying desperately to manage Riley's life without joy and sadness. At first, they believe they can handle everything on their own. Fear encourages Riley to be careful. Disgust makes her reject things she dislikes, and anger reacts strongly whenever Riley feels that life is unfair. But without joy to balance them, Riley slowly becomes distant and frustrated. She no longer enjoys spending time with her parents, and even her favorite activities begin to lose their meaning. At school, Riley tries to continue her normal life, but the sadness inside her keeps growing, even though sadness is physically far away from headquarters. When Riley returns home, her father is distracted by problems at work and does not understand what she is going through. Riley becomes upset when he tells her to stay positive. Inside headquarters, Anger sees this as another example of unfairness. He becomes increasingly convinced that Riley should stop accepting her new life and start fighting back. Meanwhile, Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong finally reach the train of thought. They jump aboard and begin traveling toward headquarters, carrying the precious core memories with them. For the first time, Joy feels hopeful that everything might return to normal. But their journey is suddenly interrupted when Riley falls asleep. The train stops, leaving them stranded far from their destination. Joy realizes that they need to find another way to wake Riley's mind and get the train moving again. Bing Bong suggests taking a shortcut through Dream Productions, the strange place where Riley's dreams are created. Joy is unsure, but they have no other choice. As they enter this bizarre world, they discover that Riley's dreams are produced like movies, complete with sets, actors, cameras, and directors. Their mission now becomes even more complicated. They must find a way to create enough excitement in Riley's mind to wake her up without causing even greater chaos. Little do they know that while they are searching for a solution, Riley's life outside is beginning to spiral out of control, and one dangerous decision is about to change everything. Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong are now trapped in Dream Productions, one of the strangest places inside Riley's mind. Unlike the quiet shelves of long-term memory, this place is always busy. Massive cameras move across colorful sets, actors prepare for scenes, and strange dream directors constantly argue about what Riley should see while she sleeps. Every dream is created like a movie, carefully designed from Riley's memories, fears, and imagination. Joy does not have time to admire any of it. She knows that Riley is asleep. The train of thought has stopped, and the only way to continue their journey is to wake her up. Bing Bong believes they can create a frightening dream powerful enough to wake Riley, but Joy immediately realizes that this plan could easily go wrong. The three of them secretly enter one of the dream studios and try to take control of the production. Bing Bong suggests using Riley's biggest childhood fear, Jangles the clown. Riley has always been terrified of this creepy clown, and Bing Bong knows that seeing him in a dream could cause enough fear to wake her instantly. Joy is uncomfortable with the idea because she wants Riley to be happy, not terrified. However, there is no other option. They begin creating a nightmare filled with darkness, strange noises, and the frightening appearance of Jangles. The dream becomes more intense, and inside headquarters, fear suddenly reacts as Riley begins experiencing the nightmare. For a moment, their plan seems successful. Riley starts moving her badge, and the dream creates enough activity inside her mind to bring the train of thought back to life. Joy becomes excited and quickly leads Sadness and Bing Bong toward the train. But before they can fully escape Dream Productions, something unexpected happens. Riley wakes up in a panic, and the nightmare suddenly ends. The train begins moving again, giving them another chance to reach headquarters. Joy feels relieved because they are finally getting closer to their destination. She believes that once they return the core memories, Riley will become her old, cheerful self again. While Joy and her friends continue their journey, the situation at headquarters is becoming much worse. Fear, disgust, and anger are completely overwhelmed. Riley is no longer reacting like the girl they once knew. She becomes quiet around her parents and starts hiding her true feelings. When her mother asks how she is doing, Riley forces herself to smile and says that everything is fine. But inside her mind, nothing is fine. Without joy and sadness working together, Riley cannot properly express what she is feeling. She is carrying loneliness, frustration, fear, and sadness, but she has no healthy way to release them. Anger slowly becomes the strongest influence at headquarters. He is furious about the move to San Francisco and believes that Riley's parents are responsible for destroying her life. To him, everything was better in Minnesota. Riley had friends, a comfortable home, and a hockey team she loved. Now she feels like a stranger in a new city where nothing seems familiar. Anger begins feeding Riley memories of her old life, making her miss Minnesota even more. Eventually, he comes up with a dangerous idea. If San Francisco is the problem, then Riley should simply leave and return home. At first, Fear and Disgust are shocked by Anger's suggestion. Leaving home alone is clearly dangerous, and Fear immediately begins imagining everything that could go wrong. But Anger refuses to listen. He places a dangerous idea into the control system, convincing Riley that she should run away to Minnesota. Riley begins thinking about the bus route and the money she can use to travel. Outside, she quietly enters her mother's room and takes her mother's credit card information. Inside headquarters, Fear and Disgust hesitate, but Anger keeps insisting that going home is the only way Riley can become happy again. Meanwhile, Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong continue traveling through Riley's mind on the train of thought. During the journey, they pass through strange regions where Riley's thoughts are constantly being organized and changed. Joy remains focused on reaching headquarters as quickly as possible. However, Sadness continues feeling guilty about everything that has happened. She believes that she caused the disaster by touching the happy memories and creating the blue core memory at school. Joy still sees Sadness as an obstacle and tries to keep her away from the core memories whenever possible. In Joy's mind, happiness and sadness cannot exist together, and she believes Riley will only be safe if Joy stays in complete control. But as the train moves forward, Bing Bong begins talking about his old adventures with Riley. He remembers when they used to play together every day. Their favorite dream was to travel to the moon using Bing Bong's imaginary rocket, powered by a magical song. The rocket still exists somewhere in Riley's mind, waiting in a forgotten area. Bing Bong hopes that Riley might one day remember him again and return to their old adventures. Joy listens to him but does not fully understand his pain. She sees Bing Bong as another reminder of Riley's childhood, something that is slowly disappearing as Riley grows older. Their journey is suddenly interrupted when one of Riley's personality islands begins collapsing. The sound of destruction echoes throughout her mind, and the entire environment starts shaking. Riley's friendship island is beginning to fall apart. Back in the real world, Riley has become distant from her old friends and refuses to connect with new people in San Francisco. The memories that once supported her friendships are weakening, and now the entire island is collapsing into the dark memory dump. Joy watches in horror because she realizes that the situation is much more serious than she thought. The destruction causes the train of thought to derail, leaving Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong stranded once again. The core memories remain with Joy, but the path back to headquarters has disappeared. As more pieces of Riley's personality begin to collapse, Joy finally starts to feel something she rarely experiences: fear. For the first time, she understands that simply returning to headquarters may not be enough to fix everything. Riley is changing, and her emotions are becoming more complicated than Joy ever imagined. As Riley prepares to run away from home, another personality island begins to weaken. Her love for hockey, once one of the strongest parts of her identity, is slowly disappearing. Everything that once made Riley feel connected to her life is beginning to break apart. Joy looks at the destruction surrounding her and realizes that time is running out. They need to reach headquarters before Riley makes a decision that she cannot easily take back. With the train of thought destroyed, Bing Bong remembers another possible route. He tells Joy and Sadness about a dangerous shortcut through abstract thought, a strange region where everything becomes distorted and loses its normal shape. Joy knows the journey will be difficult, but there is no time left to search for another option. Riley is already moving closer to the bus station, ready to leave San Francisco behind. Joy tightly holds the core memories, and the three friends prepare to enter the unknown. Behind them, Riley's world is collapsing piece by piece. Ahead of them lies a dangerous path that could either bring them back to headquarters or trap them inside Riley's mind forever. And as Joy continues moving forward, she still believes that happiness alone can save Riley. But very soon she is about to discover that the emotion she has spent her entire life trying to avoid may actually be the one Riley needs the most. With the train of thought completely destroyed, Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong have no choice but to search for another path back to headquarters. Around them, Riley's mind is becoming increasingly unstable. Massive pieces of her personality islands are collapsing into the darkness below, and every collapse sends powerful shockwaves through the entire mental world. Joy still carries the core memories tightly in her arms, knowing that losing them would mean losing the most important pieces of Riley's identity. Bing Bong explains that there is one possible shortcut, but it is extremely dangerous. To reach headquarters, they must travel through abstract thought, a mysterious region where normal objects, shapes, and even living beings slowly lose their recognizable forms. Joy is immediately uncomfortable with the idea, but Sadness reminds her that they have no other choice. Bing Bong leads them toward the entrance, where everything begins to look strange and distorted. As soon as they enter abstract thought, their bodies start changing. First, they become two-dimensional, moving like drawings on a flat surface. Then, their shapes become even simpler, turning into strange geometric forms that barely resemble who they once were. Joy struggles to stay calm, while Bing Bong tries to explain that they must keep moving before they lose themselves completely. Sadness, however, quietly accepts the strange transformation and continues walking beside them. The deeper they travel, the more difficult it becomes to understand what is happening around them. Objects disappear, colors change, and familiar sounds turn into meaningless noise. Joy becomes increasingly frustrated because she cannot control the situation. She wants everything to be clear and organized, just like headquarters, where every emotion has a specific role and every memory has its proper place. But abstract thought is the complete opposite of everything Joy understands. For the first time, she is forced to enter a place where logic and control no longer work. Eventually, Bing Bong finds a way out, and the three finally escape before completely losing their identities. Joy is relieved to see their normal forms return, but there is no time to celebrate. Riley's mind is still collapsing, and more personality islands are beginning to disappear. They soon reach Imagination Land, where Bing Bong suddenly notices something that fills him with excitement. Hidden among old memories and forgotten creations is his imaginary rocket wagon. The rocket was once the center of countless adventures between Bing Bong and Riley. He believes it can help them travel faster and perhaps even find another route toward headquarters. Bing Bong immediately begins telling Joy and Sadness about the rocket. It does not use ordinary fuel. Instead, it is powered by a special song that Riley and Bing Bong used to sing together. When Bing Bong remembers the old adventures, his sadness is mixed with happiness. He smiles as he talks about traveling through space with Riley, imagining that one day they would reach the moon together. But Joy notices something painful in his voice. Bing Bong still hopes that Riley will remember him, even though deep inside he knows that those childhood days may never return. Before they can use the rocket, another disaster strikes. Riley's personality continues breaking apart, and the ground beneath them begins to shake violently. Family Island is now weakening because Riley has started pulling away from her parents. At home, her parents try to understand why their daughter has changed so suddenly. They can see that something is wrong, but Riley refuses to tell them what she is feeling. Her father believes she simply needs time to adjust, while her mother worries that Riley is hiding her pain. The distance between them grows larger, and inside Riley's mind, the destruction becomes even more serious. At headquarters, anger continues controlling Riley's decisions. The idea of running away has now become stronger than ever. Riley quietly prepares to leave, believing that returning to Minnesota will solve all her problems. Fear tries to warn her about the danger, imagining everything that could happen to a young girl traveling alone. Disgust also has doubts, but neither of them can stop Anger's determination. Riley takes the money she needs and heads toward the bus station. As she gets closer to leaving the city, the emotions inside headquarters watch helplessly as their control over her becomes weaker. Meanwhile, Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong climb into the rocket wagon and attempt to use it to reach headquarters. Bing Bong begins singing the familiar song that once powered the rocket during his adventures with Riley. The vehicle suddenly rises and shoots forward, giving them a brief moment of hope. Joy laughs with excitement as they race across the strange landscape of Riley's imagination. But their happiness does not last long. The path ahead begins disappearing because more of Riley's mental world is collapsing. Suddenly, the ground beneath them breaks apart and the rocket loses control. Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong fall into the deepest and most dangerous place inside Riley's mind, the memory dump. Unlike the rest of her mental world, this place is filled with memories that are slowly fading away forever. Everything Riley has forgotten eventually ends up here. Joy looks around and sees old memories disappearing into nothingness. The terrifying truth quickly becomes clear. There may be no way back from this place. Even worse, the core memories could eventually fade away, leaving Riley's personality completely empty. Joy becomes desperate. She searches for a way to escape, but the walls are too high and every attempt fails. Bing Bong suggests using the rocket to fly out, and they begin preparing it for another launch. Joy feels hopeful once again. She holds on to the car memories and climbs aboard with Bing Bong. Sadness watches from nearby, still believing that she is not wanted. Joy continues treating her as a problem, unable to understand why Sadness should have any role in Riley's life. As the rocket prepares for takeoff, Joy suddenly realizes that the memory dump is taking things away faster than she expected. Old memories are vanishing around them, including memories of Bing Bong himself. His appearance is beginning to fade, and even his voice sounds weaker. Bing Bong tries to hide his fear, but Joy can see that he understands what is happening. Riley is forgetting him completely. The imaginary friend who once meant so much to her is slowly disappearing from her mind. Despite the danger, Bing Bong refuses to give up. He wants Joy to escape because he knows that Riley still needs her emotions, her core memories, and the chance to repair her life. Together, they prepare the rocket for another attempt. Joy believes that if the rocket can gain enough speed, they might be able to escape the memory dump and return to headquarters. But the climb ahead is almost impossible, and as they prepare for the launch, neither Joy nor Bing Bong realizes that this attempt will force one of them to make a heartbreaking sacrifice. Above them, Lily is now only moments away from boarding the bus that will take her away from San Francisco. Her mind is close to complete collapse, and the emotions at headquarters are losing their ability to guide her. Deep inside the memory dump, Joy holds tightly to the core memories while Bing Bong starts the rocket. They have only one chance left to escape. The rocket begins moving forward faster and faster, racing toward the steep wall ahead. For a brief moment, it looks like they might actually make it, but the truth is that the hardest and most emotional moment of their journey is still waiting just ahead. The rocket races toward the steep wall of the memory dump. carrying Joy and Bing Bong on what may be their final chance to escape. The engine shakes violently as Bing Bong sings the familiar song that once powered all of his adventures with Riley. For a few hopeful seconds, the rocket rises higher and higher, and Joy believes they are finally going to make it out. But as they approach the top, the rocket begins losing speed. The weight is too much, and the vehicle slowly falls back toward the bottom. Joy refuses to give up. She immediately tells Bing Bong that they have to try again because Riley needs them, and every second they remain trapped brings her closer to disaster. They launch again, this time with even greater speed. Bing Bong sings louder, and the rocket climbs through the darkness. Joy holds tightly to the core memories and watches as the edge gets closer. But once again, the rocket cannot reach the top. It falls back into the memory dump, crashing among countless forgotten memories. Joy becomes increasingly desperate. Above them, Riley is preparing to leave San Francisco, while inside her mind her personality is collapsing piece by piece. There is almost no time left. Bing Bong quietly looks at the rocket, then at Joy, and realizes something that Joy has not yet understood. Without saying much, Bing Bong prepares for one final attempt. Joy climbs into the rocket, holding the core memories close to her chest. Bing Bong sits beside her, and together they begin moving forward. The rocket rises once more, racing toward freedom. But halfway up, Bing Bong suddenly jumps out. The loss of his weight allows the rocket to continue climbing, and Joy is carried upward while Bing Bong falls back into the darkness below. Joy finally understands what he has done. She desperately reaches toward him, but there is nothing she can do. Bing Bong smiles and tells her to take Riley to the moon for him, remembering the dream they once shared together. As she looks through Riley's memories, Joy begins noticing something she had never understood before. Some of Riley's happiest memories were only possible because sadness came first. She remembers a moment when Riley lost a hockey game and felt completely disappointed. Riley sat alone, believing she had failed. But when her family and friends saw how sad she was, they came close to her and comforted her. Their support made her feel loved, and that painful moment eventually became a happy core memory. Joy suddenly realizes that sadness was never Riley's enemy. Sadness allowed Riley to show others when she needed help. This discovery changes everything. Joy understands that Riley cannot always be happy, and trying to force happiness during painful moments can make things even worse. Riley needed to feel sad about leaving Minnesota. She needed to miss her friends, her home, and the life she had lost. But Joy had spent the entire journey trying to stop sadness from touching the memories because she believed sadness would destroy Riley's happiness. Now she realizes that sadness has an important purpose. Without sadness, Riley cannot express pain, and without expressing pain, she cannot receive comfort from the people who love her. Joy finally finds the strength to continue. She remembers that sadness is still trapped somewhere in Riley's mind, and for the first time, Joy knows exactly what she needs to do. She must stop treating sadness as a problem and start trusting her. Joy escapes the memory dump and eventually finds sadness. When they meet again, Joy does not try to take control. Instead, she gives sadness one of the core memories and allows her to hold it. Sadness is surprised because joy has always kept the important memories away from her. Together, they begin searching for a way back to headquarters. Riley's mental world is now almost completely destroyed. Most of her personality islands have disappeared, leaving the landscape empty and dark. But Joy is different now. She is no longer obsessed with keeping Riley happy every second. She understands that all emotions have a role to play, and Riley needs all of them to become a complete person. Joy and sadness finally begin working together instead of fighting against each other. Back in the real world, Riley boards the bus and begins her journey toward Minnesota. As the city disappears behind her, Riley becomes strangely quiet. Inside headquarters, fear, anger, and disgust watch helplessly because they cannot stop her. The control panel no longer responds the way it once did, and Riley's emotions are beginning to fade. She is becoming empty because she has disconnected herself from everything she loves. Fear realizes that something is seriously wrong. Anger's plan to make Riley happy has done the opposite. Instead of solving her problems, running away has pushed her even deeper into emotional isolation. Meanwhile, Joy and Sadness finally discover a possible route back to headquarters. The path is difficult and the entire mental world continues shaking around them. But they have something they did not have before: understanding. Joy no longer sees sadness as an obstacle. She knows that sadness may actually be the key to saving Riley. Holding the core memories together, the two emotions race toward headquarters, hoping they can arrive before Riley disappears completely from the people who love her. As they get closer, Joy can see the control center in the distance, but reaching it will not be easy. The path is damaged and another personality island collapses behind them. Riley is still sitting on the bus, moving farther away from home with every passing second. Joy and sadness have one final chance to return to their place before Riley makes a mistake that could change her life forever. Joy looks at sadness, and for the first time, there is no fear or frustration between them. She simply understands her. Together they continue forward, carrying not just Riley's core memories, but a new understanding of what those memories truly mean. Happiness is not something that exists alone. Sometimes it grows out of sadness, loss, and the support we receive from others. And with Riley's future hanging in the balance, joy and sadness prepare to take control together and bring her back to the people who have been waiting for her all along. Joy and sadness race toward headquarters as Riley's mental world continues collapsing behind them. The landscape that was once full of colorful personality islands now looks almost empty. Friendship, hockey, honesty, and several other important parts of Riley's identity have already fallen into the darkness, leaving only broken pathways and fading memories. Every second feels more dangerous because Riley is still sitting on the bus, traveling farther away from San Francisco and from the people who love her. Joy holds the core memories tightly, but this time she is no longer trying to protect them from sadness. Instead, she runs beside her, finally understanding that they both have an important role in Riley's life. The journey leads them back toward headquarters, but the way is still blocked by the destruction caused by Riley's collapsing personality. Joy looks around desperately, searching for anything that might help them cross the final distance. Then she notices the old recall tube system, the same kind of mental pathway that transports memories between different parts of Riley's mind. The tube is damaged, but it may still work. Joy and sadness climb inside, carrying the core memories with them, and the two prepare themselves for one last dangerous ride. Their journey through the recall system is fast and unpredictable. The tube twists through Riley's mind while pieces of memory fly past them. Joy struggles to keep hold of the core memories as the entire structure shakes. Sadness helps her maintain balance, and for the first time, the two emotions work perfectly together without arguing. Joy realizes that she had spent so much time trying to control everything that she never allowed sadness to help. Now, when things are at their most dangerous, sadness is standing beside her as an equal. At the same time, Riley sits silently on the bus. Outside the window, the city lights pass by, but she barely notices them. Fear, anger, and disgust remain at headquarters, staring at the control panel. They are confused because nothing they do seems to bring Riley back to normal. Fear tries to make her worry about the consequences of running away, but Riley barely reacts. Disgust attempts to remind her of everything unpleasant about traveling alone, but even that fails. Anger finally realizes that his plan has gone too far. He wanted Riley to escape the life she hated, but now she seems completely disconnected from everything. The control panel suddenly stops responding. Riley's emotions begin to fade and a terrifying emptiness takes over headquarters. Fear, disgust, and anger panic because they have never seen anything like this before. Riley is no longer laughing, crying, getting angry, or showing fear. She simply sits still. The three emotions finally understand that Riley does not need another plan or another escape. She needs to return to the people who care about her, but without joy and sadness, they have no idea how to reach her. Meanwhile, joy and sadness finally reach the entrance to headquarters, but there is one final obstacle between them and the control center. The pathway is broken and they must carefully cross while protecting the core memories. Joy moves first, but the structure beneath her begins falling apart. Sadness quickly grabs her and pulls her to safety. Once again, Joy sees that sadness is not weak or useless. She is essential. Together, they make it across and finally enter the place where Riley's entire emotional life began. Inside headquarters, fear, anger, and disgust are shocked to see Joy and sadness return. Joy immediately runs toward the control panel, ready to fix everything, but she suddenly stops. In the past, she would have pushed sadness aside and taken control herself. Now she understands that this moment belongs to sadness. Riley is sitting alone on the bus, emotionally disconnected because she has been unable to express how deeply hurt she truly feels. Joy slowly gives sadness control of the core memories. Sadness approaches the console and touches it. At that exact moment, Riley finally begins to feel everything she has been holding inside: the pain of leaving Minnesota, the loneliness of losing her friends, the fear of living in a new city, and the sadness of missing her old home all come rushing back at once. Riley's eyes begin to fill with tears. For the first time since moving to San Francisco, she allows herself to admit that she is not okay. The emotional emptiness suddenly disappears. Riley tells the bus driver that she needs to get off and returns home. Inside headquarters, every emotion begins working together to guide her safely back. Fear helps her understand the danger she was in. Disgust reminds her that running away was not the answer. Anger recognizes the unfairness and frustration she has been carrying. Joy feels relieved that Riley is finally returning home. But it is sadness who gives Riley the courage to show her pain instead of hiding it. When Riley arrives home, her parents immediately realize that something is wrong. Riley stands in front of them, unable to pretend anymore. She tells them that she misses Minnesota. She misses her friends, her old house, and the life she had before everything changed. As she speaks, she begins crying. Her parents do not judge her or tell her to simply stay positive. Instead, they hold her and allow her to cry. In that moment, Riley finally receives the comfort she has needed since the day she arrived in San Francisco. Inside headquarters, a new kind of core memory is created. It is no longer only golden or blue. The memory contains both joy and sadness, showing that Riley's most meaningful experiences can contain more than one emotion at the same time. Joy watches the new memory with amazement. She finally understands that growing up means emotions becoming more complicated. A person can feel happy and sad at the same time, and there is nothing wrong with that. The personality island slowly begins rebuilding. Family Island starts returning as Riley reconnects with her parents. Other parts of her identity begin recovering as well. Riley is still sad about leaving Minnesota, but she is no longer alone with that sadness. Her parents now understand what she is feeling, and together they begin helping her adjust to her new life. For Joy, this moment is the biggest lesson of her existence. She once believed her only purpose was to keep Riley happy every moment of the day. But now she understands that happiness cannot survive without the full range of human emotions. Fear protects us. Disgust helps us avoid what feels wrong. Anger pushes us to respond to injustice. Sadness helps us connect with others, and joy gives us hope and happiness. None of them are useless, and none of them should control everything alone. As Riley begins a new chapter of her life, the emotions stand together at headquarters, ready to face whatever comes next. The control panel has changed, becoming larger and more complicated, just like Riley herself. Her mind is growing, and her emotions are learning how to work together. But even though the worst crisis is over, Riley's journey is far from finished. Growing up will bring new challenges, new memories, and emotions she has never experienced before. For now, however, Riley is safe at home. She has returned to the people who love her, and her personality is slowly becoming whole again. Joy looks around headquarters and smiles. Not because Riley is happy every second, but because Riley is finally allowed to feel everything. And as the emotions stand side by side, ready to guide her into the future, they realize that life is not about choosing happiness over sadness. It is about learning how every emotion, even the painful ones, helps shape the person we become. Riley is finally back home, but the emotional journey inside her mind is far from over. After everything that happened, she has learned that hiding her feelings only makes them harder to handle. Sitting with her parents, Riley allows herself to cry and admits how much she misses Minnesota. For months she had tried to convince everyone that she was fine, because she believed being sad would make things worse. But now she understands that telling the truth about her feelings can actually bring people closer together. Her parents listen carefully, and instead of trying to fix everything immediately, they simply stay beside her and remind her that they love her. Inside headquarters, Joy watches Riley reconnect with her family. She notices something completely different about the new core memories. In the past, Riley's important memories were mostly controlled by one emotion. A happy memory was yellow, a sad memory was blue, and the emotions seem to exist separately. But now, Riley's new memories contain several emotions at once. Joy realizes that Riley is growing up, and her emotional world can no longer be divided into simple categories. A memory can be happy because of the people involved, while also being sad because something was lost. It can contain anger, fear, excitement, and love all at the same time. As Riley settles into her new life, her personality islands begin rebuilding themselves. Family Island becomes stronger because Riley has learned to communicate with her parents instead of hiding her problems. Friendship Island starts returning as Riley becomes more open to meeting new people. Hockey Island also begins to recover because Riley realizes that her love for the sport has not disappeared just because she moved to another city. The destruction of her old personality has taught her something important. Growing up does not mean becoming a completely different person. It means allowing old experiences to become part of a larger and more complicated identity. Joy also begins thinking about Bing Bong. She remembers the sacrifice he made inside the memory dump so that she could escape. For a moment she feels sad again, but instead of rejecting the feeling, she accepts it. She understands that Bing Bong's memory is painful because he was important to Riley. His disappearance represents the end of a part of Riley's childhood, and that loss deserves to be remembered. Joy realizes that forgetting childhood is a natural part of growing up, but the emotions connected to those memories can still remain inside us. Back at home, Riley's parents begin helping her feel comfortable in San Francisco. They know the move was difficult for everyone, but now they understand that Riley experienced it differently from them. They had been focused on work, money, and the problems of moving, while Riley had been grieving the life she left behind. Their conversation helps repair the distance that had grown between them. Riley no longer feels like she has to pretend that everything is perfect. She can be honest about having a difficult day, and her parents can respond with understanding. The next morning, Riley wakes up with a different attitude. Nothing about San Francisco has magically become perfect overnight. She still misses Minnesota and some memories still hurt, but she is no longer trying to escape those feelings. Instead, she gets ready for school and begins accepting the possibility that she can build a new life while still loving her old one. Inside headquarters, all five emotions take their positions. Joy remains optimistic, but now she does not try to silence the others. Fear stays alert, disgust remains cautious, anger watches for unfairness, and sadness is finally treated as an important member of the team. At school, Riley begins interacting with the world around her again. She may still feel nervous, but fear helps her prepare. When something seems unpleasant, disgust protects her. When something feels unfair, anger gives her the strength to respond. When she remembers Minnesota, sadness allows her to process the loss instead of pretending it never happened. And when Riley discovers something exciting or funny, joy is there to make the experience meaningful. The emotions are no longer competing for complete control. They are learning to cooperate. As Riley continues adjusting, her mind becomes even more complex. New memories arrive every day, and headquarters becomes busier than ever. The control panel has expanded, and the emotions now have to deal with situations that are more complicated than anything Riley experienced as a child. Riley is entering a new stage of life where friendships, embarrassment, independence, and identity will become increasingly important. The film shows that growing up is not a single event. It is a continuous process in which every experience adds something new to who we are. One of the most important changes is Riley's relationship with sadness. Earlier, Joy believed that sadness should be kept away from Riley's happy memories. Now she understands that sadness can actually protect those memories by giving them meaning. When Riley remembers the old days with her family, friends, and hockey team, she may feel sad because those moments are gone. But that sadness also proves how much those people and experiences matter to her. Without sadness, those memories would feel empty. Sadness gives Riley the ability to recognize what she has lost and appreciate what she still has. Joy also realizes that her own role has changed. She does not need to make every moment happy anymore. Her job is to help Riley find hope even when life becomes difficult. Sometimes joy will lead, sometimes sadness will lead, and sometimes another emotion will need to take control. The important thing is that Riley has access to all of them. This balance allows her to respond to life honestly rather than forcing herself into a single emotional state. Meanwhile, Riley's new memories continue arriving at headquarters. Some are bright and joyful, while others are dark and painful. But instead of separating them completely, the memories now connect different emotions together. A single event can make Riley laugh, cry, become angry, and feel grateful. This is a sign that she is becoming emotionally mature. Her experiences are no longer simple childhood memories, they are becoming deeper pieces of her personality. The word inside Riley's mind also reflects this change. Headquarters is no longer the small control room it once was. It has become larger and more advanced, suggesting that Riley's emotional life will continue expanding as she grows. The emotions understand that they cannot predict everything that will happen. Really will experience heartbreak, success, failure, friendship, embarrassment, excitement, disappointment, and countless other moments. Their job is not to prevent these experiences but to help really navigate them. For Riley, the most important lesson has already happened. She does not need to be happy all the time to be okay. She does not need to hide her sadness to protect her parents. She does not need to run away when life becomes difficult. Instead, she can talk about her feelings, accept support, and allow herself to experience every emotion naturally. The people around her can then understand what she needs instead of guessing. As Riley moves forward, Joy looks at the new control panel and smiles. She knows that the difficult day they survived changed everything. Before, she thought her greatest responsibility was protecting Riley from sadness. Now she understands that her greatest responsibility is helping Riley experience life honestly. Sadness stands beside her, no longer treated as a threat but as a trusted companion. Together they watch Riley step into her new life, knowing that many challenges are still ahead. The final moments remind us that Riley's story is not really about avoiding sadness. It is about understanding why sadness exists. Every emotion has a purpose, and a healthy life requires space for all of them. Riley's journey shows that sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is admit that they are hurting. Once that pain is shared, love and support can enter, and from that difficult moment, happiness can eventually return in a much deeper and more meaningful form. Riley's life has finally begun to settle down after the emotional chaos caused by the move to San Francisco. She is no longer trying to escape her problems, and for the first time, she understands that being honest about her feelings can make difficult situations easier to handle. Inside headquarters, the five emotions continue watching over her, but their relationship has completely changed. Joy no longer tries to control every decision, and sadness is no longer treated as an enemy. Instead, they work together, understanding that Riley needs every emotion to experience life properly. The new control panel reflects how much Riley has changed. It is larger and more complicated than before, filled with controls that allow the emotions to respond to increasingly complex situations. Riley is growing older, and the simple emotions of childhood are slowly becoming more connected. A memory can make her laugh and cry at the same time. Something can make her angry while also making her afraid. A situation can be embarrassing but still exciting. The film shows that emotional maturity does not mean feeling fewer emotions. It means learning how different emotions can exist together. Riley also begins rebuilding her connection with the activities she once loved. Hockey becomes important again and she starts looking forward to playing. At first, she is nervous because everything is new. Fear warns her about making mistakes, while disgust worries about what other people might think. Anger becomes frustrated when things do not go perfectly. Sadness reminds Riley of the old team she left behind. But joy helps balance all of those feelings and allows Riley to enjoy the game again. Riley realizes that loving hockey does not require her to forget her old life. She can create new memories while still carrying the old ones. Her relationship with her parents also becomes stronger. The emotional crisis showed them that Riley needed more than instructions to stay positive. She needed them to listen. Her parents begin paying closer attention to her emotions and giving her space to talk. Riley also becomes more comfortable telling them when something bothers her. Their family is not suddenly perfect, but they are more connected because they have learned to communicate honestly. Inside Riley's mind, memories continue arriving from everyday experiences. Some are bright yellow, some blue, and others contain several emotions at once. Joy notices that the memories connected to Riley's family are especially complicated. A simple moment of laughter at dinner may also contain a little sadness because Riley remembers how different life used to be. Instead of seeing the sadness as something negative, Joy now understands that it makes the memory more meaningful. The emotions begin to recognize that memories are not just records of events, they are emotional experiences that help shape Riley's identity. Joy also thinks about the beginning of Riley's life. When Riley was born, she had almost no memories and only a few basic emotional responses. Over time, her experiences created friendships, interests, fears, habits, and values. Every memory added another piece to the person she was becoming. Now that she is older, the process is accelerating. New experiences are changing her every day, and the emotions must learn how to adapt alongside her. Sadness, meanwhile, has gained a new confidence. She no longer believes that she causes problems simply by existing. She understands that her role is to help Riley process difficult experiences and communicate when something hurts. When Riley remembers Minnesota, sadness helps her acknowledge the loss instead of forcing her to move on too quickly. This allows Riley to appreciate her new life without pretending that her old life never mattered. Fear also becomes more important as Riley begins exploring her new environment. He warns her when she is about to make a risky decision and helps her think about possible consequences. Disgust protects Riley from situations that could embarrass or upset her. Anger continues to react when Riley feels treated unfairly, but he learns that reacting immediately is not always the best solution. Joy encourages everyone to work together, and the result is a much more balanced emotional system. One of the most powerful ideas in the story becomes clearer as Riley grows. People are not defined by a single emotion. Riley is not simply a happy person, a sad person, an angry person, or a fearful person. She is all of these things at different moments. Her personality comes from the way these emotions interact with her memories and experiences. This is why the new core memories contain multiple emotions. Riley's identity is becoming more complex because she is becoming more emotionally aware. The memory of Bing Bong also remains important to Joy. Although Riley has forgotten him, Joy has not forgotten what he represented. He was a part of Riley's childhood, imagination, and innocence. His sacrifice reminds Joy that growing up sometimes means letting go of things that once mattered deeply. That does not mean those experiences were meaningless. In fact, the sadness of losing them proves how valuable they were. As Riley continues growing, she begins creating new memories that are completely different from her childhood experiences. She makes new friends, learns new things, and discovers different sides of herself. The emotions watch as these experiences become part of her personality. They know that they cannot stop every painful moment from happening, and they should not try. Pain is part of life just like happiness. Their responsibility is to help Riley understand and process what she experiences. The film's message becomes especially powerful because Riley's crisis was not caused by one terrible event. Her family still loved her. Her parents had good intentions. The move was made for practical reasons. But even positive changes can hurt. Riley lost the world she knew, and nobody initially understood how deeply that loss affected her. Her emotional breakdown was the result of ignoring those feelings for too long. Once she finally expressed them, she was able to begin healing. Joy's transformation is perhaps the most important change of all. At the beginning, she believed that keeping Riley happy was her only responsibility. She treated sadness like an obstacle that needed to be controlled. By the end, Joy understands that real happiness cannot be forced. Sometimes happiness comes after sadness has been acknowledged. Sometimes a person needs to cry before they can smile again. Sometimes asking for help is the first step toward feeling better. The final scenes show Riley moving forward with a stronger understanding of herself. She is still young and she will face many more emotional challenges as she grows. But now she has something important that she did not have before, the ability to recognize and accept her feelings. Inside headquarters, joy and sadness stand together while fear, disgust, and anger continue doing their jobs. None of them is more important than the others. Together, they form the emotional world that guides Riley through life. The story ends on a hopeful note because Riley's future is open. Her mind will continue changing, new memories will appear, and her personality will continue developing. She will experience moments of happiness, sadness, anger, fear, embarrassment, and excitement. Some memories will fade, while others will remain with her forever. But every experience will contribute to the person she becomes. And that is what makes Riley's journey so meaningful. Inside Out is not simply a story about emotions living inside a child's mind. It is a reminder that growing up means accepting the entire emotional experience of being human. Happiness is wonderful, but it becomes more meaningful when we understand sadness. Courage matters because fear exists. Love becomes stronger when we understand loss. And sometimes the most important thing we can do is allow ourselves to feel exactly what we are feeling. Riley may have started the story believing that everything had to be okay all the time. By the end, she understands something much more important. Life does not have to be perfect to be meaningful. There will always be difficult days, but there will also be people who care, memories worth protecting, and new experiences waiting ahead. Inside her mind, all five emotions prepare for the future together, knowing that whatever comes next, Riley will never have to face it with only one emotion in control. Riley's new life in San Francisco is finally beginning to feel familiar. The pain of leaving Minnesota has not completely disappeared, but she has learned that missing her old life does not mean she cannot enjoy her new one. Every day brings new experiences, and each experience creates memories that are slowly becoming part of her growing personality. Inside headquarters, joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust now work together more naturally. They no longer fight for complete control because they have learned that Riley needs every emotion to understand the world around her. As Riley grows more comfortable, she begins discovering new interests and forming new relationships. Her parents notice the difference too. Riley is more willing to talk about her day, share her frustrations, and laugh with them. The family has become stronger because they survived one of their most difficult moments together. Riley once believed that moving away from Minnesota meant losing her family life as well. But now she understands that home is not only a place. Home can also be the people who stand beside you when everything feels uncertain. Inside her mind, the memories arriving at headquarters are becoming increasingly complicated. Instead of memories being controlled by only one emotion, many of them contain several emotional colors at once. Joy looks at these memories and realizes how much Riley has changed. A single moment can now make her happy, embarrassed, nervous, and sad at the same time. This complexity represents Riley entering a new stage of emotional development. She is beginning to understand that feelings are not always simple, and sometimes two opposite emotions can exist together without one canceling the other. Sadness is now an essential part of Riley's emotional system. When Riley thinks about Minnesota, sadness helps her remember the people and experiences she left behind. But instead of allowing those memories to pull Riley backward, sadness helps her understand their importance. Riley can miss her old friends while making new ones. She can remember her old hockey team while enjoying a new team. She can feel sad about what changed and still feel excited about what comes next. This balance is exactly what Joy could not understand at the beginning of the story. Joy also remembers how much she underestimated sadness. She once believed that sadness only made Riley's life harder, but now she understands that sadness creates opportunities for connection. When Riley cried in front of her parents, they finally realized how deeply the move had affected her. Her sadness allowed them to comfort her. If Riley had continued pretending to be happy, her parents might never have understood what she truly needed. The emotions also begin recognizing that memories are not permanent. Some disappear as Riley grows older, while others become stronger because they are connected to important experiences. The memory dump continues receiving forgotten information, but this is not necessarily a bad thing. Riley cannot carry every single moment of her childhood forever. Forgetting small details allows her mind to make space for new experiences. The memories that truly matter remain connected to the emotions and values that shape her identity. Joy thinks about Bing Bong again. His disappearance was painful, but she now understands that his story represents something universal. Childhood does not last forever. As people grow older, imaginary friends, games, toys, and childhood dreams can slowly disappear. That can feel sad, but it also creates room for new dreams and new experiences. Bing Bong's sacrifice was heartbreaking, but it helped Joy understand that letting go is sometimes part of growing up. Riley's relationship with hockey becomes another example of this emotional growth. In Minnesota, hockey was connected to her friends, family, and identity. After the move, she initially believed that losing her old team meant losing hockey itself, but eventually she realizes that the sport is still part of who she is. She can play again, meet new teammates, and create new memories without destroying the old ones. The love for hockey survives because it was never only about one place or one group of people. It was something Riley genuinely enjoyed. Her friendships also begin developing in unexpected ways. Riley becomes more open to people she might not have noticed before. At first, fear and disgust make her cautious, but joy encourages her to take small chances. Sadness helps her understand when someone else may be struggling. Anger helps her stand up for herself. The emotions now operate like a team, each contributing something important to Riley's decisions. The biggest difference between the beginning and the end of Riley's journey is that she no longer believes she has to hide painful emotions. When something goes wrong, she can admit that she is upset. When she feels nervous, she does not have to pretend she is fearless. When she misses someone, she can talk about it. And when she is happy, she can enjoy that happiness without worrying that sadness might ruin it. This emotional honesty allows Riley to become more confident and independent. Inside headquarters, the emotions begin watching over Riley with a new sense of responsibility. The control panel has become more advanced, and Riley's mind is clearly entering a new phase. The emotions know that future challenges will be more complicated than anything they have faced before. Riley will encounter situations involving friendships, embarrassment, competition, independence, and difficult choices. They cannot prevent every mistake, but they can help Riley learn from them. Joy no longer sees herself as the leader who must control everyone else. Instead, she becomes the emotion that keeps the team connected. When fear becomes too worried, Joy helps calm him. When anger becomes too intense, she helps him slow down. When disgust becomes overly critical, she reminds her that Riley needs openness too. And when sadness becomes overwhelmed, Joy stays beside her instead of pushing her away. Their friendship has become one of the most important changes inside Riley's mind. Riley's story also reveals why memories are so powerful. A memory is not simply a picture of something that happened in the past. It can influence how we see ourselves and how we respond to the future. A painful memory can teach us what matters. A happy memory can give us hope during difficult times. A frightening memory can help us avoid danger. An embarrassing memory can teach us to grow. Every emotion attached to a memory adds another layer of meaning. As the days pass, Riley becomes more confident in her new surroundings. San Francisco no longer feels like a place that stole her old life. It becomes a place where she can build something new. Her past remains important, but it no longer controls her. She can carry Minnesota in her memories while creating a future somewhere else. Inside headquarters, the emotions watch Riley smile as she enjoys another ordinary day. Joy looks around at the others and realizes that this simple moment would have seemed impossible when they were lost inside Riley's mind. The crisis taught all of them that emotional balance is more valuable than constant happiness. Riley does not need a perfect life. She needs the freedom to experience her life honestly. The five emotions stand together as Riley continues growing. They know there will be difficult days ahead, but they also know that every challenge will become another experience that shapes her. Some days will be bright, others will be painful, and many will contain both. That is what makes Riley human. And as Riley steps confidently into the future, the world inside her mind continues evolving with her. New memories arrive, old memories fade, and the personality that defines her becomes richer and more complicated. Joy smiles at sadness, sadness smiles back, and together they watch Riley experience another moment of life. The emotions have finally learned the lesson they were searching for all along. Happiness is not the absence of sadness. True emotional strength comes from accepting every feeling and allowing them to work together. Riley's journey finally reaches its most meaningful conclusion as she begins to understand that growing up is not about becoming permanently happy or leaving painful emotions behind. It is about learning how to live with every emotion and allowing each one to play its role. After returning home and opening up to her parents, Riley is no longer carrying the weight of her feelings alone. The sadness she had been hiding has finally been expressed, and instead of destroying her happiness, it has helped her reconnect with the people she loves. Inside headquarters, Joy watches Riley with a completely different understanding of what her purpose really is. The control center has changed dramatically since the beginning of Riley's story. When she was younger, her emotional world was much simpler. Joy seemed to dominate almost everything, while sadness, anger, fear, and disgust each had limited responsibilities. But Riley is no longer the same little girl. Her experiences have made her more emotionally complicated, and the control panel has expanded to reflect that change. Memories now contain multiple emotions at the same time, showing that Riley can experience happiness, sadness, fear, anger, and excitement together. The emotions understand that this complexity is not a problem. It is a natural part of becoming older. Joy thinks back to everything that happened. At the beginning, she believed sadness was the biggest threat to Riley's happiness. She tried to keep sadness away from the core memories and wanted Riley to remain cheerful no matter what happened. But the journey through Riley's mind completely changed her perspective. Joy saw how sadness helped Riley connect with her parents, how painful memories could eventually become meaningful, and how Bing Bong's sacrifice revealed the importance of accepting loss. Joy finally understands that her role is not to erase sadness. Her role is to help Riley find hope even when sadness is present. Sadness has also changed. She no longer feels like an unwanted emotion standing in Joy's way. She has discovered that she can help Riley recognize when something is wrong and encourage her to seek support. When Riley misses Minnesota, sadness does not force her to forget it. Instead, she helps Riley remember the people and experiences that mattered. Those memories may hurt, but they also remind Riley of how deeply she can care. Sadness becomes a bridge between Riley's past and her future. Anger, fear, and disgust have learned important lessons too. Anger realizes that frustration can be useful, but allowing anger to control every decision can make a difficult situation even worse. Fear understands that protecting Riley does not mean preventing her from taking every risk. Disgust learns that avoiding unpleasant experiences is not always possible, and sometimes Riley has to face uncomfortable situations to grow. Together, the emotions become a balanced team rather than separate forces fighting for control. Riley's life outside her mind continues moving forward. She begins forming new friendships and discovering new opportunities in San Francisco. Her relationship with hockey becomes stronger again, and she starts creating memories that are completely different from the ones she left behind. She still remembers Minnesota, but those memories no longer make her feel trapped. Instead, they become part of her story. Riley can miss the past while being excited about the future, proving that sadness and happiness can exist together. Her parents also become an important part of her recovery. They understand that their daughter was not simply being difficult or ungrateful. She was struggling with a major change that she did not know how to explain. By listening to her, they help Riley feel safe enough to express herself. Their support shows why emotional honesty matters. Sometimes people do not need someone to solve their problems. They simply need someone willing to listen. Inside headquarters, the emotions continue guiding Riley through ordinary moments. Some memories are joyful, while others are uncomfortable. Some make Riley laugh and others make her want to hide. But every memory teaches her something. The emotions understand that they cannot control every event in Riley's life, and they no longer try to. Instead, they respond to what happens and help Riley process each experience. The memory system also reflects the reality of growing up. Riley will eventually forget many small details from her childhood. Names, places, conversations, and ordinary days will slowly disappear into the memory dump. But the experiences that shape her personality will remain in some form. The emotions connected to those memories will continue influencing Riley even after the original details are gone. This suggests that we may forget specific moments, but we often carry the feelings they created for the rest of our lives. Bing Bong's sacrifice remains one of the most emotional memories for Joy. Although Riley has forgotten him, his importance has not disappeared completely. He represents the imagination and innocence of childhood that Riley once experienced. His final act helped Joy understand the value of letting go. Growing up means that some things will disappear, but losing them does not make them meaningless. Childhood can end while the lessons and emotions created during childhood continue shaping the person we become. Riley's story also shows that emotional problems do not always come from something obviously terrible. Her parents loved her. They wanted a better life. The move was made for a reason, but even a decision made with good intentions can create pain. Riley's feelings were real, even though nobody intended to hurt her. The important thing was not avoiding the change. It was learning how to deal with it honestly. This is why Riley's emotional breakdown becomes an important turning point. Running away seemed like the only solution because Riley believed she had lost everything. But when she finally stopped pretending to be okay, she discovered that she had not lost everything. Her parents still loved her. Her memories were still inside her. Her ability to make new friends and discover new interests was still there. She simply needed permission to grieve the life she had left behind. Joy now understands that sadness can be the beginning of healing. When Riley cries, it does not mean she is weak. It means she has stopped hiding her pain. When her parents hug her, the sadness becomes connected to love and comfort. That emotional combination creates a powerful memory that Riley can carry forward. The moment proves that even painful experiences can become meaningful when we share them with people who care about us. The final image of Riley's emotional world gives us a glimpse of what lies ahead. The control panel is bigger, and the emotions are ready for whatever comes next. Riley will continue growing, and her emotional world will become even more complicated. She will face new friendships, difficult choices, embarrassing moments, victories, failures, and countless experiences that will shape her identity. The emotions cannot predict everything, but they are ready to face it together. And that is where Riley's story leaves us. She is not suddenly perfect, and her life is not free from sadness. Instead, she has learned something far more valuable. She does not have to run from difficult emotions. She can accept them, express them, and allow the people she loves to support her. Joy and sadness now understand that they are not opposites fighting for control. They are partners who help Riley experience the full meaning of life. In the end, Inside Out is a story about growing up, but it is also a story about understanding ourselves. It teaches us that every emotion has a purpose. Joy gives us hope, sadness helps us connect, fear keeps us safe, disgust protects our boundaries, and anger gives us the strength to respond when something feels wrong. Life becomes healthier when we stop judging our emotions and start listening to what they are trying to tell us. Riley walks forward into her future, carrying everything she has experienced. Her childhood memories remain a part of her. Her family remains beside her, and new experiences are waiting to become memories of their own. Inside her mind, all five emotions stand together at the control panel, ready for the next moment. They know there will be laughter and tears, fear and excitement, anger and love. But now they understand that none of those feelings needs to be feared. Because Riley's story was never about choosing one emotion over another. It was about discovering that every emotion has a place. Sometimes the happiest memories are born from the saddest moments, and sometimes the hardest experiences teach us the lesson we need most. Riley has learned to accept that truth, and her emotions have learned it with her. As she continues growing, they will continue guiding her. not toward a life without sadness, but toward a life where every feeling has meaning.